Shabbat Shalom, friends.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Welcome to our sukkah. Welcome to Friday night. This is Chol HaMoed Sukkot. These are the intermediary days of Sukkot, the days that fall between the beginning of Sukkot and Simchat Torah, which will be Monday night. And so these are special days, the days of Sukkot. We're meant to be outdoors. We're meant to be in the sukkah. We're meant to take a deep breath after all of the heaviness of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and bask in the beauty of nature, the beauty of community, the beauty of our beautiful heritage. And we'll do all of that here and now on this Friday night as we come together, cozy, warm, yes, ish, and thank God together, those of us here, those of us watching from home, as we begin with music, as always, to help ourselves to settle into Shabbat at the end of a long week, as we sing Kol Hanshama.
Hallelujah, 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 Kol Hanshama.
Join in the blessing over our Shabbat lights as we welcome the light of Shabbat. As we bless the sweet wine, as we pray for a Shabbat of sweetness.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hakafen. Amen.
We welcome the Sabbath bride in singing Dodi, which you can find on page 2 of your packet.
Shabbat. Shabbat nitavila Lechadoti likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekavla.
As is our custom, we can turn to those around us to wish them Shabbat Shalom. Introduce yourselves to those you don't know. We will remain standing for our call to worship, Baruch Hu. Of the following page, we find our Song of Freedom. We're so thankful for our freedom and the freedom that we have to celebrate Sukkot and sit outside in peace and in comfort as we do. And so we sing together in the name of freedom for all people as we join together.
Mi kamocha boirim Adonai, mi kamocha
that same page, we can join together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובי בני ישראל, בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
With that, we rise together for our tefillah.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach ufiyah b'tehillatcha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el ha'gadol ha'gibor ha'norah, Elyon gomel chasadim tovim, ובונע החול, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מכל אתה רב והושיע, מוריד אתה. מקלקל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, צומק נופים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה
of rest and renewal, open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. We sing now in the name of greater peace in our world as we join in Shalom Rav at the top of page 8.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tiratahu me'akaron lekol hashalom. Tiratahu me'akaron lekol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בקולית ובקולך בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים
At this important point in our service, as we do each week, we offer a prayer for those in our lives, those in our community who may be in need of healing. Shabbat is and has always been a time for healing, a time for mending, and as a congregational community on this Friday night, amidst the beautiful fall festival of Sukkot, our prayers are very much with Ileana Cohn, Rick Ulrich, Lynn Romsberg, Jerry Dreskin, Ann Marsden, Stephen Trombecki, Sarah Oken, Gary Garnick, Michael Infanti, Shirley Friedlander, Robert Weiner, Dr. Sam Friedman, Jen Jones, Paula Friedman, Jocelyn Jackson, Yuri Huen, Eddie Rosen, Mary Mednitsky, Nick Bowd, Tikva Moshava, Murray Kammerman, Flora Hans, Rick Forenow, Todd Pollard, Al Glogauer, Sharon Selman, Dr. Jerry Herman, and Devorah Tehila Batlea. If there's a name you'd like to add to this list, someone for whom you offer a Misha Berach, a prayer for healing, please feel free to do so as my glance meets your own.
Paul Reimer. Marlene. Okay.
We do join together in Misha Berach, our prayer for healing.
Bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing.
take a moment or two now for the sake of our own silent and personal prayers. Shalom again, everybody. Can you hear me and see me if I stand about here?
Yeah.
When I was standing there, I had a corn stalk in my ear, so this is just a little better. So let's take a minute to talk about Sukkot. Here we are. This is the Shabbat that falls in the midst of Sukkot, a special Shabbat. And of course, I spoke a lot about Sukkot at the start of Sukkot. We had a lovely service here. Some of you were here. And now here we are in this beautiful space. And I thought the focus tonight would be on the actual sukkah itself. We're doing a mitzvah at this very moment. We're told in the Torah that for 7 days, 7 nights, we are to leishev basukkah, to dwell in the sukkah. Of course, the rabbis would debate, well, what does it mean to dwell? How do you define dwell? And I would say we are dwelling. This is dwelling. You are dwelling. We are dwelling. The dwelling is happening. For them, ultimately, the answer would be dwelling consists of sleeping and eating and studying. Those are the 3 things that you should do in the sukkah over the course of the week. So, have fun, do those things. And I think really for us, the sukkah is such a powerful and important symbol. If we just think about it for 1 second, this sort of unfinished, temporary space. It's yes a house, it's no a house, it's a hut, but it's more than that. And it's really so powerful for us, for a lot of reasons. So you tell me, it's always me talking, you tell me, what is the sukkah symbolic of? What does it mean? Why do we do this this Jewish thing of building a hut in the fall and going and hanging out in it. What is that? Why is that? I did not stump you that easily. Come on, Larry.
It connects us with our ancestors and our past.
Okay, good. It
And
connects
with
us with our
nature,
past.
And with nature, with regular nature.
All true. So it connects us with the time when our Israelite ancestors were wandering the wilderness and they didn't have permanent or stable homes to live in, of course, during that time. So remember the time of their journey and how their life was very much in flux all the time. It also reminds us of the fact that our ancestors were an agricultural people, farming, and maybe they would be in a hut during the harvest. And of course, connecting us to nature, that we come outside and we can't help but notice the sky above us, the stars above us, the air around us, right? We feel it. At this very moment, we feel it. And during our otherwise very sort of air-conditioned lives, we're sometimes blind. We're immune to nature and the beauty, the power of nature. So that's good. That's very good. So the sukkah, what else would you say about the sukkah if you had to say? Why else do we do this? Dylan, help us, Dylan.
It reminds us to be thankful for our actual houses that do have completed roofs and hopefully 4 walls.
Dylan has been listening. That's good. So, in the most ironic way, we come out to this temporary space, right? And we are reminded by visiting the fragility of this space, of all that in our lives is not so fragile, right? The places in our lives where there is permanence, where there is stability, right? That we have a home to live in, that we have food to eat, we have clothes to wear. By coming into this sort of very transient space, we're reminded that actually we don't have to live like this all the time, even as there are those who do, right? So we might be a little chilly. I think this is lovely, but you might be a little chilly. I see the jackets and sweatshirts and whatnot. But there are those who don't have a home ever, right? Who live outdoors, who live not quite sure where their next meal is going to come from. So we come into the space, and we're thankful actually at the end of this night, we're going to go to our homes, and we're going to be warm, and we're going to be cozy. So that's very good too. What else would you say about the sukkah? Evan?
I think it also helps us connect with each other because various organizations, whether it's Men's Club or Sisterhood or Religious School, ECC, hopefully throughout the year, but also during Sukkot, it's kind of a cool way of dwelling amongst our brethren or sisterhood or what have you.
Dwelling together, nice. Not just dwelling, but dwelling together. And we have this beautiful concept, the Yiddish word is ushpizin, right, of welcoming others into our sukkah and to providing them with food, providing them with some comfort, right? And Sukkot becomes this time for community. And we've felt that over the course of this last week too. I would just say one last thing as we wrap up our lovely discussion, that one of the really powerful things of the sukkah is that it reminds us that we can find God and find faith in unlikely spaces, right? We, in a maybe ironic way, have left the beauty of our sanctuary right over there. We could be there right now. We could be in that beautiful space, beautiful seats. We've come out here where it's a little colder and the grass is wet and there's no roof. We've come here, and in the most maybe surprising of ways, we feel so connected, right? We feel the power of this space, the idea that we can find God, we can find ourselves in less likely spaces. And the Torah portion we'll read tomorrow morning, the Torah portion associated with Sukkot, actually has nothing to do with Sukkot overtly. The portion of Ki Tisah from Exodus is all about finding God in unlikely spaces, and Moses will find God in the wilderness. And so there is some of that, to sort of find God, to find meaning, maybe where it's less obvious. So those are some Sukkot messages for the here and now. Any closing questions, comments, issues? We're going to continue our service with Aleinu. I'm going to ask everyone to please rise.
עלינו לשבח אדון הכל, לתת קריאה ליוסף בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונה.
to remain standing for another moment as our thoughts do turn now to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and every nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, life and death. We do remember at this time those taken from our congregational family in most recent days, including Samuel Silverstein, husband of Janet, father of Rabbi Mordecai and Shira Silverstein, Joy and Gary Hanker, Barry and Tamara Cohen, Harvey Bird, and many grandchildren and great-grandchildren. We remember Justin Major, grandson of Joan Major, nephew of Dana Major, cousin of Kelsey, Kayla, and Kylie. We remember Barbara May Garcia, sister of Marion Portnoy, aunt of Cheryl and Filipolios, great aunt of David and Jennifer. As well, we recall at this time those whose yahrzeit we mark this Shabbat. Brian Barretts, James Barroway, Marilyn Braden, Herman Cohen, Jerry Feldman, Claire Fisher, Samuel Rosen, Norman Rue, Irving Rubenstein, Louis Shapiro, Neil D. Siegel, and Betty Taylor. If there's a name you'd like to add to this list, someone for whom you say Kaddish this Shabbat, please feel free to do so now as my glance meets your own.
Ronald Walker.
Lady Wittenberg and Colby.
In all their names, in all their memories, and in the memory of the many for whom there is no one to say Kaddish, we join together as we say Yitzgadol v'Yitzgadash Shemei Rabbah v'Yalmad Tivrach Yirutei v'Yamlich Malchutei v'Chayechon v'Yomechon v'Chayei Tachol Beit Yisrael v'Agala v'Yizman Karim v'Imru Yehei Shemei Rabbah v'Barach Le'olam U'Lamei Almaya Yitbarach v'Yishtabach v'Yitpa'ar v'Yitroman v'Yitnaseh Yitzadar v'Yitaleh v'Yitalal Shemei Tukudashah B'Richu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran le'alma v'imru Yehi Shloma Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom v'mrolav Yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Together we can say, Amen. Amen. You may be seated. It's my pleasure to welcome Diane Singer, our president, forward to share tonight's announcements.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Diane.
Thank you, Rabbi Cantor Sandy, Herb, for leading tonight's service, and a special thank you to all of you for joining us tonight on this beautiful evening. I'm so glad we could maximize our time in the sukkah. For me, Shabbat is a time for reflection, so tonight's thought for Shabbat is always have something beautiful in sight, and that is not necessarily my picture, but even if it's just a daisy in a jelly jar, that works too. So please join us tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock for Torah Talk and Bagels, followed by our Simply Shabbat at 10 a.m. Our holiday season continues. All right, we'll use your picture. The holiday season continues with Simchat Torah. Please join us Monday evening at 7 o'clock in the sanctuary as we listen to the last and first portions of the Torah, and we re-roll the Torah back to the beginning. So hopefully enough of you will show up so that we can do that. Okay, so please join us. That morning will be the Simchat Torah service in the sanctuary at 10 o'clock. The fun continues in the Sukkah Sunday, September 26th, with Sisterhood Sangria in the Sukkah starting at 1:30 p.m. Please bring your own wine glass to sample sangria, and as always, Sisterhood will schmooze and snack, so hopefully you can join us. Monday morning was our rain date and our makeup time for Mahjong in the Sukkah. So if you can make it at 10:30, let me know. And hopefully you'll stay for a few minutes for our oneg. And as always, check the weekly happenings and the bulletin for upcoming events. Shabbat shalom.
A shout out to Alex for helping us to put this service together sort of last minute. We decided that we should be outside tonight, and with the lights and the seats and the sound, he made it all happen. So here we are with a closing song, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. It's at the very back of your packet. We'll join together.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
We can join in Motzi before our oneg as we sing Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avot. Shabbat shalom, friends.
Shabbat shalom.